No,
I've actually heard that. I've actually heard
yeah,
that
and
before, yeah.
I don't hate it. I disagree on a few things, but we were going back and forth trying to feed each other's sales since we were under the same publisher. What was the famous radio? Steve Allen. I can't remember. There was a famous radio feud. It was sort of the same thing.
Yeah, that's where I heard that.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
No, I've actually heard of that.
Way before our time, dude.
Yeah.
But there's
radio.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing like controversy to boost sales.
Yeah.
That's why all these radio artists are doing whatever they want.
Take a feud. And I was always, in fairness, we had if we'd been going back and forth on the internet, we'd probably been much more abusive to each other.
Yeah.
But I mean, Chris is very much the polite Englishman, and we were in print where we had editors that would no, bad writer, bad. If we got too out of line, but mostly it was just fun to go back and forth.
You gotta pick a fight with somebody.
Yeah, I know. I'll pick a fight with this guy. No, I'll pick Grant. I'll pick a fight with Grant.
But he actually knows a martial art.
Yeah, you'll lose.
So, what do you guys think is like the big wrong steer of databases these days, implementation-wise? I mean, where are people going?
Developers.
Yeah, well, you know.
Amen.
So what is their big shortcoming, Liz? I mean, what are developers getting wrong that makes you just go, shoot me in the eye?
Getting wrong, it's not their fault. It's the manager's fault and the tools people's fault, really. I mean, managers want things done immediately. They don't want to design first. Yeah. And you asked why I got into design, because everywhere I looked, designs were terrible. And there were books about design that were okay, but they a lot of math and a lot of stuff that developers go, no way, not doing this. So I tried to make it in this kind of, if you can understand these 5 sentences, then you'll go, oh, I get it. Then maybe I should go read.
That's really comforting to hear from some of the MVPs, because I'll say in a gig I was at recently, it was like they took some time and they got the business requirements and they handed it to the coders, and it was sort of design as you write it, which seems kind of like a bad idea to me. But that's
because they don't do design, and they think they're doing rapid development tools, agile, but because they don't do design, it actually takes longer to develop. They don't have extensibility. They don't have data integrity. They have to redo it again sooner.
Yeah.
So
I always figure these
management, they don't understand. Generally, they don't have a clue.
I always figure these people would be awesome. The agile people who came up with agile would be awesome to play chess against. Because they
move really fast.
They don't take 3 minutes.
Good
though.
Yeah, but
they know the rules and have a few years experience behind. Agile's usually an excuse for what we used to call cowboy coding.
Yeah, exactly.
Wahoo, write it down.
They formalize cowboy coding.
Yeah, and there's a book on the first Agile project at Chrysler. It was a year 2000 thing. It failed. Chrysler eventually had to throw the whole damn thing out and redo their payroll package in COBOL from scratch.
Good times.
But the whole Agile's based on a failed project, and it's become an excuse. Yeah, it's gradually developing to something that's got some merit. But it came in. I'm not sloppy. I'm agile.
Yeah, but I'm not fat. I'm big boned. These big bones right here.
What are you saying, man?
I'm not saying nothing, man.
Bye.
Anyhow,
you gotta innovate.
Good
Find your happy place. Find your happy place.
I'm just sitting closer to the camera than everybody else, really. But the point I was trying to make about chess is people who do agile seem to play 1 move ahead, and to do it really right, you need to be playing 10 moves ahead and doing the 1 move. I mean, obviously, the idea behind doing the monthly iterations and having shippable code is awesome. But if you don't know what's coming up down the road, you may do something really horrible here, and then down here you've got to redo it.
It cascades.
And it's driven by this panic to give the users exactly what they're asking for at that moment,
At that moment,
think,
yes.
as opposed to what they really need, and taking the time to go, that's a great idea. But we should really consider doing it this way, because otherwise
there is some truth in there. The whole idea of let's spend a year gathering requirements, well, let's specify it out, build it.
Hey, Buck, come on in here.
Come on, Buck.
We've got 2 choices. We can bring you into the fold right here in the middle, and we can continue our talk, or we can cut this short. Okay,
I'll make something
bud. Yeah, pull up a chair and just come on in.
I'll just stand back here.
Okay, guys, so here's what's going on. We had Buck.
You can't lean on this
awesome,
thing.
yeah. That's awesome.
Go ahead, I'll get another chair.
You can sit in his lap.
Yeah, sure.
Not mine, but
In
his.
our search to
I'm on.
find good people to interview, we were settling for Buck until we could
Yeah,
until we
that's
could
awesome.
get some.
Yeah, that's some real
Settling for
folks.
So
Buck.
now that he actually showed up, we have to kind of honor that commitment.
Joe's actually stalking me. Joe and I show up at like every conference together
Yeah.
for some reason. What that's doing.
No.
Yeah.
Want to see our Dolly invitation?
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
so what you were saying? Unfortunately, this is
Okay. We were talking about Agile a few minutes ago.
Oh.
Just
God
bashing
bless you.
Agile for
Okay.
data.
It's gonna get shaky for a sec.
There we go.
Oh, that is what she said.
It does. I have had success where I go through lots of small, tight iterations while I'm doing the design. I learn more,
Sure.
I design more, learn more, design more, because that brings the discovery process into the design process. But you're still, while I'm doing it, I'm thinking very long-term and extensibility.
Sure.
So I
Well,
like the idea of short iterative design cycles instead of the one big waterfall.
Sure, no,
But
get
if you
it.
take it too far,
Yeah, it
you're
can
sunk.
go wrong. So at Microsoft, actually, we're allowed, the program manager is allowed to design any way they'd like. You can use Agile if you want, or
That
whatever.
explains a lot.
Well,
That's
it
a
actually
lot.
does. It actually does. The methodology is immaterial. The schedules are in iron. So what we used to do is what almost every company that writes software does. You set up this thing that says version X is going to be these things, these features, and so on, right? That's just common in software design.
Sure.
And then you ask an engineer, how long is it going to take you to make that? And it's like, me giving you an algebra problem you've never seen and saying, how long will it take you to solve that? Well, it may take me a minute because I may recognize it,
Yeah.
or I don't know. I got to start working on it, right?
That's one of my big pet peeves, and then it
Sure.
comes back on. It
Well,
comes
then,
back on
you know,
and
how long would
comes
it take
back
you to
on
get to the
cycle.
moon? And you're like, I've never been to the moon. I really don't know. I don't know, a month? So you
well,
need
it
to
depends
guess.
which moon.
Yeah, you guess.
There you go.
Oh, you've talked to management before.
Yeah, so you guess long or you guess short. So we realized early on with SQL Server 2005 that doesn't work. If you lay down in stone what's going in the product, you can no longer lay down in stone when it's going to be done. And so the big problem with SQL Server 2005 wasn't that it took 5 years to release. People don't upgrade their databases for 5 to 8 years anyway, the platforms.
I
So
like
that-
the 5 part.
I like a 5-year cycle myself as well, and we can talk more about why we're on a 3 one now. But the point is that the 5 years wasn't the problem. The problem was they said we'd be done in 4. And then it was nothing but bad press for a year, and that's death. I mean, in a software company, that's death. So what we did in SQL Server 2008, we took a completely different paradigm about development. This is actually kind of interesting. Starting at the top, they lay down these themes, and you saw those pillars during the keynote, right?
Not
They say,
really.
okay, whatever. Did you go?
Key
I
what
want
now?
you part of it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So the first part of the one that Ted did, he talked about these pillars, and they're big words. Like you saw the last one, always on technologies, right? So literally, they come up with these at the top, always on, and then they go down to each group underneath and say, what does that mean to your group? And Joe would go off and say, let me think about it. I'm the engine, so always on for us means failover clustering or whatever. And then Joe would go to his program managers and say, Joe, what does it mean in your area? You're the backup compression group. What does always on mean to you? So these themes filter down into actual actionable items. Those all go on a big list called the Global Ranked Improvement List, or the GRIL. And those those are ranked, and somebody says their t-shirt size. This is small, medium, or large. This will take a long time, but it's big benefit. This will take a lot of time, but there's good benefit here, and this will take a little time, and there's not a lot of benefit, but a bunch of these add up. And they rank all those, and then we start. And then what we do is, using Agile or something like it, we release a CTP. The CTP then is baked. It's got the documentation. It's got everything in it.
Unless you're in Madison on the Madison team.
What
Could
is
be.
the documentation of what you said?
Yeah, so the Books Online team literally is sitting in the meetings while we're writing the product. I had my documenter that was assigned to my team. As my testers and my devs are working and I'm going over the outline, they're literally like writing stuff down, and they go off and come back and go, is this what you said? No, it's something else. So the point is that at every step, whereas we used to wait till we were done, do a beta and say, how do you like it? And you'd say, well, I hate this feature. And we're like,
Why didn't
well,
you
we
ask
ship
us?
in a month, so
Too bad,
sorry.
so sad.
Yeah, sorry.
And you still kind of do that.
Well, sometimes, and nobody's perfect, obviously, but the point is that within the CTP process now, it's fully baked, it's ready to go, as much as it can be, and we give it to you and say, what do you think? And you say, I don't like it, and we step back, and we step forward. So the Agile allows you that, and the point is, at the end of the 3 years now that we've made Schedule king, at the end of the 3 years, however far you got down on the global ranked improvement list, that's the product. the neat thing is because each one's self-contained, you can stop at any moment and say, whatever we just checked into main yesterday is what we ship. The stuff you did today and last week and all that, if it didn't get in, it's not going into product.
Let me throw out a tip for Agile. For those of you out there who are doing Agile design, Agile development, something I've had success with recently is using a tool called Balsamic, or one of these.
I'm a fan of their vinegar.
Yeah,
Very nice.
with a Q at the end. They have a really, really nice, just draw out the screens. And while I'm not saying databases are ever driven by screens, discovering features are. If you sit down and just talk with the user, what do you need, and they sort of randomly talk about, that's one thing. If they can see a screen, you say, if you click here, you will see this, you will see this.
Yes.
Then they say, oh no, that's not what I wanted, or gee, it would be cool if I could do this.
That's part of Expression Designer too. We got the new Expression
cool.
Web and Expression that you've seen, the Expression stuff we're coming out with, has a prototyping tool that's exactly that. And it's interesting as well because it's got an annotator right in it.
Yeah.
So literally you could grab the mouse from me and say, but what if you move this here, and you can drag it and move it there and it'll track that. And then I take that back to the design team and said, this guy's a lunatic, but he wants it this way. And it works out. So there's lots of tools I think out there that allow that. But I agree that the short iterative steps are useful in more ways than one. What if you have a short-lived team? What if people are leaving, or you have layoffs, or you have additions, or whatever?
If it's just waxing.
Yeah, if you have this big, huge thing that you're working toward, a waterfall, and somebody disappears in the middle of it, it hurts. But if you're doing little steps and somebody comes in, there's very little risk on that step, and then they can jump in on the next step. So it has some advantages, I think.
I grew up with the classic DoD waterfall model, 2176 A and B and all that. And the rule of thumb was every job has two people on it, because someone's going to get hit by a beer truck or transferred.
Right.
And you always have a backup.
Right.
And if you had assembly language programmers, you needed at least 3 of them, because 2 of them would
They were
get hit by a beer truck or something.
They were so old they would be dead soon.
Jumping in front of them.
I actually saw a new assembly book that was just released, and I was like, really?
Oh, dude, COBOL's still going right now. You can find.
But a new assembly book?
Yeah, sure.
Because of all the advances in assembling technology.
That's happened. Yeah.
Beer truck, that's interesting, because in Texas we always say hit by a bus. Is it more fun to be hit by a beer truck?
Oh, much.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's what I
What sounds better?
We see
Settled
at my
is much better.
At
than a
my
beer
job,
truck.
at my job, they're always saying, I want you to teach this guy this, or I want you to document this in case you get hit by a bus. And I'm like, how come I can never get swept away by a supermodel?
There you go.
I mean, why does it always have to be something really bad? How
think
come I
that-
can't win the lottery?
Win the lottery, yeah.
I think that question sort of answers itself.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't use that one. But I get it. I get what you're saying.
But they're always trying to kill us.
So the idea, they're always killing you off. But I think your point is very valid. They basically had human backups. Sort of
And you
a
spend
cluster
and you spend a long
assembly
time
programs.
documenting.
Soylent Green is people.
That's right. And I agree. And they want you to back up. Of course, we start figuring out they want us to document everything, and we're hearing they're going to replace me. They're going to ship my jobs overseas or whatever.
Because it's
right?
happened to us.
Because
It's
it happens.
happening. It's
Yeah,
happening.
it
Well, sorry.
happens.
I mean, it happened at a gig I was at recently. That they started. None of
Not my
people
current
like me.
gig, but
No,
I was at
no,
recently.
no. My thing is not on, so you can't see who I work for. Ha. But yeah, they've got a little bit of the outsourcing, a little bit of
Sure.
documentation, and all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, it's death.
Yeah, outsourcing to me is one of my favorites. Was a friend talking about being on a project.
Oh, and they're not calling it outsourcing.
No.
It's
Well,
something
no, but
else.
something else now.
Offshoring.
They're
Offshore.
they're bringing in some help.
Help.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good euphemism.
That's like we lost a
That's
couple
plenty
people.
of it.
Yeah.
Well, I found them. They're right over there.
Actually, my team gets rebalanced.
Oh, that,
Ooh, I like
That's
that.
the best
how
one
about
I've heard
right
yet.
size?
Yeah, no, they don't even use
Ooh,
that because
that's a
they
good
know
one, too.
they know
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I got rebalanced. Really, that means I have more work to do. Is that what that? No, they
That
don't
means
say reorg.
that means your wheels won't wobble. When
That's
you roll
right.
down.
Yeah. You're now on a monocycle, right?
Yeah. And speaking of that, you have to explain your T-shirt. That is one of the funniest things I've seen. Not the one
Oh,
you're wearing.
the
I
one-
was
Well,
like, it's
yeah, I was
a
like-
pass.
Yeah. Would you?
Okay.
Would you open my bag there and grab
Yeah,
the shirt
sure.
out and we'll hold it up?
That
Which
is-
one is
that
yours? This one here?
That is
Yeah, that one. It's the main
There we go.
pocket
Let's
there.
see.
So again, this is interesting that you mentioned. I'm glad you brought that up. No, that's my skirt there. You don't want that. Okay, here it is.
Yeah.
Let's see if Joe can get it.
See if
I've
Joe
already
can
been
get it.
told.
Oh, you already
I've been
Okay.
telling everybody.
Okay, so
Here,
here's
I'll hold it.
here's
I'll
my
hold it
hold
well
up.
up.
You model.
There we go.
Okay,
See?
So-
Okay, now say it. Oh, it's
Say it-
it's
say it
going
out loud.
fuzzy.
Say it out
There we go.
loud.
What is it? That's
It's
that's a
I-
server right there. If you can't see it on the screen.
Okay.
Server.
And then when you look and see what it really says is try SQL Server. Get it?
Tricycle
Okay, that's
server.
Tricycle
It took me a while. I had to say
server.
like four.
You know what?
Yeah, it's not a
copy.
copy.
I get my own.
Yes.
Yay.
So
you know you're a geek when
the-
all your T-shirts have a company logo.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I can actually dress for like a month without using a non-logoed shirt. You know, I literally have a logoed shirt for every day of the
Dude, I can
month,
go
which is
much
sad.
longer than
Yeah.
that. I get companies.
Yeah.
Start
That's
giving
what
away
he
socks
said.
and
I get
underwear.
companies.
Yeah.
I get
Socks and underwear.
I
I bet.
missed everybody.
Yeah, that's right. So the idea on that was very interesting that you just brought up, and that you just brought up with the documentation stuff.
Yeah.
I did a blog the other day on don't be a DBA. Did you read
yeah,
that?
I did
so,
actually.
So the idea is if you have a job that can be outsourced, get a different job. And you can actually make a different job.
So
Right now,
what
most
does
time
SQL
it can't.
What does SQL Azure do in that statement?
Ah, that's awesome. I'm so glad you asked. So the idea is, if all I can do, that's my pocket ringing, sorry. I'm supposed to be somewhere. I don't know, some guy I'm supposed to interview. If your job is backing up things and adding users and stuff like, or configuring
and
clusters,
stuff, yes.
then probably you're going to be either outsourced or clouded right away, and you should be,
Rebalanced.
right? If you can be replaced with a 3-line Perl script, you should be.
PowerShell script.
Yeah, Perl.
PowerShell.
You've heard of Perl.
You've heard of PowerShell.
I
haven't
use
you?
PowerShell constantly. But if
Why
you
would
could
you
be
even say Perl?
because I'm using the low bar. If you can be replaced with Perl, we can all be
Fair
replaced with
enough. Fair
PowerShell.
enough.
Yeah.
Then why need to say QBasic?
Ooh, that's yeah. Can you replace anything with QBasic? No.
GW Basic?
Maybe, yeah. So anyway, but the point is this. A DBA, a database professional, not a DBA, not a database admin, because an admin does admin work, but a database professional holds the company's data in their hands. So you think about a company now, Microsoft, we have a 30 terabyte SAP system with all of our paychecks and who we owe money to and who owes us money and all that in there. If that were to disappear with no backups whatsoever, no way to recover it, could we do business tomorrow? Could we do business in 5 minutes? The computers run our phone system, for crying out loud, and every other company, by the way, too. So what's the
Every
most
other company's phone system?
Oh yes,
It's a really big
it's a big
database.
phone system.
The
But the
loggers
point
will be
is-
so happy with that.
Yeah, yeah, they will.
They'll be like,
They'll
yeah,
really
I'm
like
gonna
that.
do I'm gonna do a
So the question
house.
is, could you continue your company without its data or its people? So Bill Gates left us. You know, we lost the guy that did all the blogging and all that. Different people,
that guy.
famous. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
famous
guy that
people.
was blogging in Microsoft. Yeah.
That
Yeah,
Microsoft
guy. You remember
blogger.
him? You remember him? What was his name?
Good.
Do you really know his name?
What?
Scoble?
Scoble. That guy.
Oh. I
thought
So
you were
we've
being
lost
coy there
famous
for a second.
people. You know, at Microsoft, and other companies have lost famous people, and the company continues.
They
But
were
if you
just
lost the data,
right-sized.
yeah, they were right sized.